Well, here we are again today, folks. This is Brother P with tidbits from the Word. We've been running through the disciples. I think it would behoove us to know who the disciples were, who their names were. We're going to be in heaven, forever with them. And they're going to be around a table with the 24 elders, and the 12 disciples are going to be there. And these are our brothers in the Lord. These were our brothers beforehand. They went before us. These were brothers that were willing to lay their life down and give themselves in martyrdom, and most of them were martyred. And they knew they were going to be martyred. And if you or I knew we were going to be martyred, we might run the other way. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing today. If you're not drawing closer to Jesus in this day and age, and you're not getting to where you can stand up against man, I tell you what, we have got a bunch of wimpy people today that call themselves Christians. It's amazing. I can hardly say the words. It baffles me so bad that we got people that say that Christian won't even tell their neighbor about Jesus. Won't go walk down the sidewalk and say, "Do you know Jesus Christ?" to somebody. And you think you're going to stand up and be shot? You ain't going to stand up and be shot. You're going to run the other way. You got a problem inside of you. If you can't stand up for Jesus, you got a problem inside of you that says that you ain't going to make it when the time comes for you to stand and really face the firing line. Face the gun. You're not going to make it. Jesus, that's why he chose these fishermen, I think. Because these fishermen went to the end. They went to the furthest end. They would not quit. And they were willing to go to the grave. Would you be willing to go to the grave for Jesus? I doubt it. Many of you that are watching, many of you that are listening today, I doubt it. You won't even listen to good preaching. You got a computer because you're watching me. What do you do with that computer? You pump up trash all day? Or do you go over there to where it says good, bad, and indifferent preaching? I go over there where it says good, bad, and indifferent preaching. I listen to all of them, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, because I'm interested in listening to what God's got to say for me. Now, we're in the disciple today, Bartholomew. And Bartholomew went out and got his good friend Nathaniel and brought him to Jesus. And when he came to Jesus, Nathaniel said, "Behold, an Israelite with no guile." And Nathaniel said to him, "How in the world do you know that? How you know that?" And he said, "Well, I knew you when you was under that tree over there." Well, Nathaniel knew when he was under that tree, there wasn't a soul could know him but God, because he was praying. So he was over there in that tree praying, and Jesus told him where he was. Probably told him a little bit what he was doing. It's not all recorded. Do you know a lot of the things Jesus said is not recorded? And the reason it's not recorded because the Bible said if every single word he said and everything he did was recorded, there wouldn't be enough books to contain it. But let's remember now, these are apostles here. They were with Jesus. They were not indwelt by the Holy Spirit yet. And the Holy Spirit came on them. They did some works, mighty works, but not the kind of works they would do after the Holy Spirit come on them. And so we see in the Gospel of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and in Acts of the apostles, that in each one of them, in their list of names, associate Philip with John's Gospel, and he does not mention the name Bartholomew. John doesn't at all. But he does say that Philip brought Nathanael to Jesus. Now, there's no such a thing as a silent disciple. There's no such a thing as a silent follower of Jesus. You can't be a silent follower. You might be a quiet follower. You might be a follower that gets in your closet and does a lot of praying, and Jesus uses you in that way. And people don't see you out in the wide open all the time. You might be that kind of follower. And there are a lot of those. But silent followers, there are none. Jesus doesn't have any silent disciples. Coupled with what the New Testament says, and brought up Philip and Bartholomew and Nathaniel were pretty much buddies here, I guess. And proceeding on the assumption that we can turn our attention to the description of Bartholomew or Nathaniel given by Jesus himself, recorded in John's Gospel. When Philip brought him to Jesus, the Master, seeing him approach, described him as Israelite without guile. You know that is, I'm telling you. Do you know what? He was saying he's a follower of the law. And undoubtedly, Nathaniel was a follower of the law. And you know what, too? He was probably a thinker. He was probably a thinking man. He was probably a man with high intentions in his head, and a thinking man. And there's not a whole lot said about him in the Bible, but he did get his name up here. And like I said before, in some of these other excerpts, you think you'd get your name if Jesus was writing another Bible for the 1,000-year reign? Do you think you'd get your name on the heading up there on the top, that Jesus spoke to you and that you followed him? Let's see. He had the hidden knowledge in his heart, I believe, from what we hear from him and the ordinary person that he was. He had the hidden knowledge of Jesus Christ in his heart, and he knew that Jesus was indeed the Messiah. And after that, all we can do is go to what historians say about him, that he went to India. And he was in India preaching, and that's why they say they found some stuff that he had written in India, and that he had left behind. Now, let's see what the first thing he did was went and got his friend. And that's what we're supposed to do when we get saved. And then, if he did go to India, what did he do? He went to the far country. He took the what Jesus said. He said in Acts 1:8, when you be endued with power from on high, you'll be first at home in Jerusalem, and then and outside of that in Judea. And then he said in Samaria, the outermost parts of the world. And I believe some of those disciples did that. We saw Andrew over here before, or Philip, and they say he might have ended up down in Spain, along the Spanish coast, down there preaching. And that's where he left a witness, and that's why the Spaniards had salvation. And now here's a guy, Bartholomew. It's not said too much about him, but tradition says that this man, his work and his writings and his church and stuff showed up in India, and that's where his heritage went to. And so, are we known around the world? I'm on this boob tube right now for a reason. Jesus kept me for a time such as this, and I'm the most unlikely, and I said it before, I'll say it again, human being to be on this machine. I don't even know how to run it. I don't know how to get on it. I don't know anything about it. The last couple of days, matter of fact, this morning, real early before the sun came up, Jesus had me poke the right button. God showed me the right button to poke, and I poked the button, and there my place was that I was supposed to be at. And since then, today, I've learned how to poke that button several times. And that's the only thing I know about this machine, is how to poke that button. But here I am, folks. Brother Peter, with tidbits from the Word, just telling you what I've learned over a 40-year period. And I've stayed in the book. I've learned the book. I respect God. I respect the book. I respect that Jesus Christ is the book. And that while I got it in my hands, I got Him in my hands. I got the living water. I got the place where the root needs to go and grow. My root can go into that book and get fertilizer from every word in it and grow a root and grow a tree as big around as a bear, big around as a car, and when the wind blows, it will hold true. Well, our time's come and gone. It's been good being with you. See you next time.